Welcome to It's All Recruiting, the show that looks at everything through the lens of recruiting. I'm your host, Jim Stroud. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another action-packed episode of the It's All Recruiting podcast. I'm your host with the most, Jim Stroud. Yay! I am reporting live from the 10th anniversary of SOURCECON. Best place to be for recruiting and learning sourcing stuff. It is so awesome. So awesome! Part of the reason why it's so awesome because you meet so many interesting people. You get so many interesting stories, listening to other people talk about their experiences in sourcing. And I had a very curious moment, serendipitous moment, I think. I don't know if that's even the right word to say, but in an earlier incarnation of SOURCECON, I met someone very what am I trying to say? Very lovely woman. Don't say lovely. Very professional woman. I met Emily Sanchez at a SOURCECON event, and ran into her at this SOURCECON event. And we started talking, and I said, "Hey, I was just over in Denmark a couple weeks back." And she was like, "What? Shut up! I was in Denmark." I was like, "No, you weren't." And so we started taking out pictures. I was like taking out pictures and everything, and I was like, wow, you were there the same time I was, and we didn't even realize it. So wild. I said, wouldn't it have been cool if there was an app or something that would have helped me figure out who was in the area that I could maybe talk or hang out to? Because you're in a different country, you don't know so many people. She's like, well, yeah. I said, what? And she started showing me all these different apps, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. I said, we should podcast that. And she was like, okay, Jim.
Pretty much.
So that's what we're going to talk about today, different apps that are really cool, not just for connecting with people while you're in different countries, but yeah, for connecting with people because you could be recruiting those people. So Emily has in her hand right now her phone, which has a lot of different apps. I want to sort of talk to some of these. You can't see them, but I will put a list to these apps in the description of the podcast, so not to worry. Now, yesterday, at the bar, you were showing me your different apps. What was the app you showed me that helped me find people who had similar interests to me when I'm in that area?
So that app is called Shaper.
Shaper, that's SHAPR.
Right, and so it's kind of like a Tinder, but it's professional. It's actually linked to your LinkedIn account, and then it goes off keyword searches. And so based on where the interest that you say you have, then as you travel and move through countries, it gives you lists automatically to kind of match you to people that have the same interests. And then you're able to meet with these people for coffee, or if you want to call them, or hey, I'm in this area. And so for me, it's helpful because if I'm in another country and let's say I'm interested in networking with people that do what I do, this is a great way to meet people while I'm traveling.
Now I'm looking at the interface and I see the person's picture at the top, the information in the profiles from the LinkedIn, but I see these keywords at the top. In this particular case, I'm looking at customer service and marketing and healthcare.
And the healthcare one, as you can see, is the one that's highlighted because that's what I do. And so this person is in healthcare, and that's why she came up. And so you can scroll up and get more information on what industry she's in. And so then you can swipe left if I'm not interested and I want to move on, or there's a button at the bottom that says meet. And then I can actually meet with her, and then she'll get a notification, hey, I'm in the area, do you want to meet? This is, even though it says she's in Chicago, it's coming up because she's obviously here in Austin.
Okay.
So then, as you see, the next one, this person's in Austin. She's interested in leadership.
This is really cool because I'm getting the scenario that, let's say, like today, I'm in Austin, and I do a search on Shaper for people who have an interest in Java development, for example.
Exactly.
And then I could say, hey, you have an interest in Java, I have an interest in Java, let's talk, we get together, and I try to recruit them.
And then you actually have a link to their LinkedIn profile below, so that then you can directly see if they really are somebody that you want to meet before you say meet. So that's kind of nice. And then it gives you about 15 profiles a day, and then it actually gives you a notification on your phone that says, hey, Emily, go in there and look at the new people that we've linked you up today. So it's kind of a little bit to-do list that you have every day.
Is this a free tool or you have to pay for it?
It's totally free.
Okay.
Yep. It's totally free.
Well, nothing to lose.
Yep. And it just has, like these people that have different ways to connect. They've offered that they're willing to have lunch, coffee, video call. So everybody has different options as to how they want to meet people.
Very cool.
So that you're not imposing.
Now, there was another app you showed me, too, that translated for you and showed translations of signs or something like that. What was that?
So as I travel, I like to get a little bit more familiar with the areas, and sometimes you don't have time or it's too much information to research everything at home. So on the go, I use a tool called TripLingo.
TripLingo. Okay.
And I like it because it tells me where I am. So like I was in Copenhagen last, so that's still coming up there. And then it tells me like phrases that are pretty much used.
Oh, so I can click on the phrases and say, where's the taxi?
For sure.
Okay.
It tells you voice translator, so if someone's talking to you and you don't know what they're saying, you can
Get out.
You can hit the video, the little recordings button, then it'll translate what they're saying to you. And there's even an image translator, which is what I love the most. So if you're like in a place like Japan where it's all hieroglyphics and you don't know what it says, you can take a picture and then it'll convert that image to actual language and then tell you, what it says. And then there's other tabs below. It's about culture, and it talks to you about the country info, the history of the country that you're in, the politics, the religion, the culture. And this is important because if you're in certain countries and you don't know, what the dress code is or what the behavior that you're supposed to be exhibiting in certain countries, this is important to me, especially if, like, I'm traveling with my children. So I'm like, this is how you have to behave and certain things like that. And then they have a tool, which is really cool. It helps you, as I'm moving through different countries, there's so much different exchange and different currency, and so I don't know, what dollars mean. So this kind of converts it for me.
Okay.
Tells me what the tip typically is in the area, and then there's also a safety tab.
Oh, so if I want to call it...
So if I'm having an emergency, I can't call 911. I'm not in the U.S., so I know what their emergency number is.
112 in this case.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
And then some of the other apps that I use is Like a Local. Again, that's another way to connect with
Like a Local?
Like a Local.
Okay.
And it just kind of gives you a local's perspective of where they feel, is best to eat, or if you want to take a tour, what's the best tour areas to see, if you're looking for a party that night, where it's going to be, happening, things to see and do, places to shop. And these are local people that are basically saying, it's like if you...
So it's not like a marketing agency, an advertising agency?
No, these are actual people.
Okay.
That just say, this is where I live and this is what I would recommend.
Sort of like a Yelp.
Kinda, yeah.
A Yelp for tourists.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other app that I use, like, to just find really good flights is Momondo. That's an app, and it's really...
Momondo?
Momondo.
Okay, what does that do?
That gives you the best rates on flights.
Really?
So because
like a
I'm not
Trivago
like you,
or Kayak?
Exactly, but it's a combination of all those apps in one, and it's specific for international travel.
Very nice. Okay, now I'm going to list all of these different apps and maybe a couple more that we don't have time for in the description of this podcast. Thank you, Emily, for sharing. That was very helpful.
Okay.
Next time I go out the country, I'm going to look these apps up.
You got it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. See you next time on the... Well, you don't have to see me because it's a podcast, but... you know what I mean. Watch out for the next episode of the It's All Recruiting podcast. Bye! Thank you so much for listening. If you were not there, then I would be here talking to myself. So thank you for that. If you would, check out the links in the podcast description because they are there for you. Finally, if you love what you heard, hate what you heard, or not quite sure what you just heard, I want to know about it. Connect with me on Twitter at Jim Stroud, or LinkedIn, or Google+, or pretty much anywhere you find me online. I'm everywhere. Okay, enough of that. Until next time, one last word spoken 3 times to my people at Randstad SourceRight. Love, love, love.